The arrangement, the golden light of the bar made everyone look beautiful, which was precisely why Chloe hated it. She sat in the corner booth, a study in deliberate dissonance. Her naturally sleek dark hair was pulled into a severe, frizzy bun. She wore her brother's oversized, faded band t-shirt, the one with a small hole near the collar, and shapeless cargo pants. She had even dusted a faint, unflattering blush across her nose to mimic a sunburn. This was her armor. This was her rebellion against the well-meaning friend who had set this up, against the very idea that she needed to be seen to be found. "Chloe," a voice said, warm and tinged with amusement. She looked up, and her carefully constructed wall of indifference developed its first crack. He wasn't conventionally handsome in a magazine way. He was real. Late 30s, with kind crinkles around his eyes and hair that was more messy than styled. He wore a soft, navy sweater, but it was his smile that unnerved her. It was genuine, reaching his eyes, which were the color of warm oak. "Leo," she asked, her voice tighter than she intended. "The one and only." He slid into the booth opposite her, his gaze sweeping over her with an expression she couldn't place. Not disgust, not pity. It was closer to fascination. "I love this shirt. Saw Kill Shadows. Their early work is criminally underrated." Chloe blinked. This was her brother's favorite obscure band. "You know them." "Saw them in a tiny venue in Brooklyn 10 years ago. Deafening. Glorious." He flagged down a server, ordered the craft beers without asking her preference, but somehow got it exactly right. "Your friend Mara said you were interesting." She undersold it. The conversation that followed was a duel Chloe wasn't prepared for. She gave monosyllabic answers. He replied with thoughtful, expansive stories. She tried to appear sullen. He found her dry observations hilarious. She mentioned an obscure 14th century poet she was translating, bracing for the glazed-over look. Leo's face lit up. "The Lamentations of the Unquiet Soul," he quoted in near-perfect Middle French. A thrill, sharp and dangerous, shot through her. "You read Old French?" "I listen to it," he said icily, taking a sip of his beer. "Audiobooks. Podcasts. The cadence is like music." He then seamlessly shifted, asking about the feel of the words, the texture of the emotion, not the academic pedantry she was used to. Chloe felt her defenses, brick by brick, being disassembled, not by force, but by a gentle, persistent curiosity. He was really listening to the parts of her she usually kept locked away. Her bitterness about the dating world, her passion for dead languages, her fear of being loved only for a pretty face that felt less like her own and more like a mask she wore. "Most guys just want a decoration," she said, the words slipping out. Fueled by a third beer and his disarming attention, Leo leaned forward, his voice dropping. "Decorations are static. They just hang there." "You," he said, his focus so intense she felt physically warm. "You're a forest, dense, alive, full of hidden paths and surprising sounds. I'd rather get lost in a forest any day." Her heart, traitorous and long dormant, gave a hard, painful thump. "No," she thought, "this is the trick. This is where the illusion cracks," and he asks for a selfie to show his friends the mess he met. But the illusion never cracked. His attention never wavered. After 2 hours, walking out into the crisp night air, Chloe was in a panic. She had never felt so seen while trying so hard to be invisible. It was terrifying. "I had a really terrible time," she blurted out, a last-ditch effort to sabotage this. To protect herself, Leo just smiled. That soft, oak-eyed smile. "Liar, you had a fascinating time." "So did I." He stepped closer. "Can I kiss you, Chloe?" The question hung in the air. This was it. The moment he'd touch her, the moment the spell would break and he'd feel the product in her frizzy hair, see the deliberate clumsiness of her posture. But she was drowning in his sincerity. She gave a tiny, almost imperceptible nod. He didn't swoop in. He moved slowly, giving her every chance to retreat. His hand came up, but not to cup her face as she expected. His fingers gently traced the line of her jaw, a whisper of a touch, then brushed a loose frizzy strand behind her ear. The tenderness of it shattered her completely. Then he leaned in and kissed her. It was not a fireworks kiss. It was a homecoming kiss. Deep, patient, and heartbreakingly sweet. It tasted of truth and beer and a promise she was terrified to believe. When he pulled back, he rested his forehead against hers. "Tomorrow," he whispered. "Dinner, a real one, please." All her rules, all her armor, lay in rusted pieces at her feet. "Yes," she breathed. He smiled, kissed her forehead, and turned to walk away, hands in his pockets, a lightness in his step, overwhelmed. Chloe sank onto a nearby bench, her fingers touching her lips where his had been. She had to call Mara. She had to tell her she was a genius, a miracle worker. She fumbled for her phone, her hands trembling, a delirious laugh bubbling in her throat. She opened her messaging app. The text she typed glowed in the dark. "Mara, oh my God, he's perfect. I tried so hard to look awful and he saw right through it. He's incredible. I think I'm already falling. Thank you, thank you, thank you." She hit send. A second later, her phone buzzed with a reply. But it wasn't from Mara. It was from Leo. Her blood turned to ice. The message preview glowed on her screen. "Hey, Just got home. Had a great time with Mara's friend. Quick question though. For next time, you didn't mention Chloe was blind. She had a guide dog with her at the bar, right? She was so amazing, I didn't want to ask and seem rude. Chloe's breath vanished. The world tilted. The careful, unflattering makeup. The mismatched, textured clothes. His intense, unwavering focus on her voice, her words. His description of poetry as music and sound. His gentle touch tracing her jaw, not her features. His kiss in the dark. He hadn't seen through her disguise at all. He hadn't seen anything, and in his beautiful, dark world, he had fallen for the raw, unfiltered soul she had accidentally, desperately, presented. A sob, half agony, half awe, ripped from her throat as she stared at the glowing screen. The heartbreaking truth settling over her more completely than any night sky ever could. He had fallen for the one version of her that was truly, utterly, real. And she had no idea how to tell him he'd never actually seen her face.